Hello my dear student, welcome to this session of chapter 6. We are dealing with internal structure of flowering plants, and today we are going to start with the next topic regarding secondary growth. First of all, let us revise about primary growth. The apical meristem as well as the intercalary meristem, they results into primary growth. So lengthwise, number wise development of increase in number wise development of plant, that is included in primary growth. Now secondary growth, the growth of roots as well as stem in length with the help of apical meristem is primary growth, as I have said to you. And apart from primary growth, most dicot plants, this you have to remember, most dicot plants, they exhibit an increase in girth. That means in diameter wise they increase. So this increase of diameter size, that is resulted into secondary growth. And mainly the tissue which is involved in secondary growth are two lateral meristems, in which two examples they are included. They are vascular cambium and cork cambium. So today we are going to start the detail of the activity regarding vascular cambium and cork cambium. Students, in previous session we have learned about the presence of cambium between xylem and phloem. So we are talking about here vascular cambium, which is present between phloem and xylem. It is a meristematic layer which is responsible for cutting of vascular tissue, especially xylem and phloem. That's why it is known as vascular cambium. In young stem, it is present in patches as a single layer between them. Later it forms a complete ring. This we will see with the help of diagram. Let us see the formation of cambial ring, how the ring that is formed. Especially in dicot stem, the cells of cambium which are present between primary xylem and primary phloem is known as intrafascicular cambium. This is very important term, intrafascicular cambium. It is present between primary xylem and primary phloem. Now other term is interfascicular cambium. The cells of medullary cells adjoining these intrafascicular cambium, actually they become meristematic, that means cell division starts in them also, and then they form interfascicular cambium. So a continuous ring of cambium can be formed. So medullary rays we have understood earlier, the parenchymatic cells which are found between the two vascular bundle in dicot stem. So in this way we have learned, and with the help of diagram it will be more clear. Now let us see how the activity of cambial ring takes place. The cambial ring becomes active and begin to cut off new cells both towards inner side and outer side. The cells cut off towards pith, that is inner side, mature into secondary xylem, and the cells which cut off towards periphery, that means outer side towards epidermis, it matures into secondary phloem. Only this much is important to remember, that's why I have underlined it. The remaining I am explaining, but it is not so much important. You have to only understand it, no need to write. So actually the cambium which is generally more active on inner side than outer side, it will result the amount of secondary xylem which is produced is more than secondary phloem, and soon it forms a compact mass. The primary and secondary phloem get gradually crushed due to continued formation of secondary xylem. So primary xylem remains more or less intact in or around the center, and at some places the cambium forms a narrow band of parenchyma also, which passes through secondary xylem and secondary phloem in the especially radial direction, so in a radius way. So these are known as secondary medullary rays. So in diagrammatic form, when we see the secondary growth in dicot stem, then this diagram firstly it shows that cambium is present between primary xylem and primary phloem. Then later on what happens, this particularly interfascicular cambium, it develops due to activity of medullary rays which are just present parallel to the way of cambium. So actually they form a continuous layer which is known as cambial ring. So in this diagram also it is very much clearly observed. So these diagrams, they show how the activity that is continued and how the cambial ring that is formed. This diagram is not compulsory to draw, but you have to only understand the location of cambial ring. Now another topic is regarding spring wood and autumn wood. I think you must have heard about it. Actually, the activity of cambium is under the control of many physiological and environmental factors. Especially in temperate regions where the climatic conditions are not uniform, they change throughout the year. So what happens in spring season? The cambium is very active and produces large number of xylary elements which are having vessels with wider cavity. So lumen is wider. The wood which is formed during this season, it is known as spring wood or early wood. But in winters where the cambium is less active and forms few xylary elements and they have very narrow vessels, their cavity is very narrow. Now this wood which is formed is known as autumn wood or also known as late wood. So this is one of the understanding. If we compare, the spring wood is lighter in color and has a lower density, whereas autumn wood is darker and has higher density. The two kind of woods which appear as alternate concentric rings constitute an annual ring. And these annual rings which are seen in cut stem give an estimate of age of the tree. So this is also an important, just to find out the age of tree by observing these annual rings. Now let us discuss about heartwood and sapwood. Especially in old trees, the greater part of secondary xylem is dark brown, and it is due to deposition of organic substance like tannins, resins, oil, gums, aromatic substances and even essential oils in the central or innermost layer of stem. That's why these substances make the wood harder, durable and resistant to the attack of microorganisms and insects, especially the white ant. It is white ant proof, and this region comprises dead elements with highly lignified walls and is called heartwood. अगर आपको ध्यान हो तो पुराने ज़माने में लकड़ी का सामान या लकड़ी का फर्नीचर बहुत यूज़ होता था और उसमें साल की लकड़ी उसका बहुत महत्व था. So it is due to this ability. The heartwood does not conduct water, but actually it gives mechanical support to the stem. And the peripheral region of the secondary xylem, which is lighter in color, it is known as sapwood, and it is involved in the conduction of water and minerals from the root to the leaf. Now this topic is regarding cork cambium. Up till now we have seen the activity of vascular cambium. Now we are going to start with cork cambium. As the stem continues to increase in girth due to activity of vascular cambium, actually the outer or cortical and epidermal layers get broken and need to be replaced to provide new protective cell layers. So what happens? Sooner or later, another meristematic tissue which is known as cork cambium, in other way it is also known as phellogen, it will develop, and usually it is in cortical region. That means outer part. Cortex is actually a part of ground tissue. Now phellogen, it is couple of layers thick. It is made up of narrow, thin walled and nearly rectangular shaped cell. Phellogen cuts off cell on both the sides, means inner side as well as outer side. So outer cells, they differentiate into cork, which is also known as phellum, while the inner cells differentiate into secondary cortex, also known as phelloderm. So three terms we have right now seen: phellogen, phellum and phelloderm. They are very much confusing terms, but you have to remember it properly. Actually the cork is impervious to water because of deposition of suberin in their cell wall. The cells of secondary cortex are parenchymatous, and all these three terms, phallogen, phallum and phalloderm, they are collectively known as periderm. So these are very similar terms. Due to activity of cork cambium, actually pressure builds up on the remaining layers peripheral to phallogen, and ultimately these layers die and slosh off, means टूट जाती हैं और बाहर की तरफ pressure create करती हैं. Now one more term we are familiar with, that is known as bark. Many times we are using this word bark, bark of a tree, bark of a tree. But what is exactly a bark? Actually, bark is a non-technical term which refers to all the tissues which are exterior to the vascular cambium, जो बाहर की तरफ है. vascular cambium की बाहर की तरफ जितनी भी tissues present हैं उनको हम bark बोलते हैं. Therefore, it includes secondary phloem. Bark refers to the number of tissues like periderm and secondary phloem. And bark that is formed early in the season, it is known as early or soft bark. And towards the end of season, it is known, if it is formed, it is known as late or hard bark. Actually, at certain regions, the phallogen cuts off closely, which are arranged parenchymatous cells on the outer side instead of cork cells. So these parenchymatous cells soon rupture, that means they break up and from the epidermis, and they form lens shaped opening towards outer side. So these spatial structures which are developed, they are known as lenticels. आपने इसके बारे में 10th standard में भी पढ़ा होगा. Its importance is lenticels permit the exchange of gaseous between outer atmosphere and internal tissue of the stem, and particularly they are found in most woody trees. सो एज यूजुअल, जैसे मैं आपको हर बार एंड में वर्क देती हूँ, सो आज का वर्क आपको इस तरह से लिखना है अबाउट सेकेंडरी ग्रोथ. देन यू आर सपोज टू राइट डाउन ऑल द डिटेल्स रिगार्डिंग लेटरल मेरिस्टम इन विच टू आर इंक्लूडेड वैस्कुलर कैम्बियम एज वेल एज कॉर्क कैम्बियम. सबसे पहले आप एक्टिविटी ऑफ कैम्बियल रिंग, एंड प्लीज़ ड्रॉ दिस डायग्राम, इट इज़ मोर ईजियर टू रिमेंबर. अगर आप ड्रॉ करोगे एक बार तो अच्छे से याद होगा कौन कौन से पार्ट्स हैं. आप देखो, सबसे इनर मोस्ट पार्ट में प्राइमरी जाइलम, देन सेकेंडरी जाइलम, देन सेकेंडरी फ्लोएम एंड लास्टली पेरिडर्म. ऑल द लेयर्स दे आर शोन. सो दिस इज द सेकेंडरी ग्रोथ इन स्टेम. इसके बाद आपको छोटे छोटे टॉपिक्स मिलेंगे, स्प्रिंग वुड, ऑटम वुड. इवन इन दोनों में डिफ्रेंशिएटिंग पॉइंट्स भी कितनी बार पूछे जाते हैं. सिमिलरली हार्टवुड एंड सैपवुड, इसकी भी अंडरस्टैंडिंग एंड इनके बारे में डिफ्रेंशिएटिंग पॉइंट्स जो कंपेयर करते हैं दोनों के बीच में, ये भी आपको याद होने चाहिए, पता होने चाहिए. सो आज का वर्क मैंने आपको किस तरह से लिखना है बता दिया है. एंड देन लास्टली अबाउट द एक्टिविटी ऑफ कॉर्क कैम्बियम वी हैव सीन, जिसके अंदर इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ पेरिडर्म, इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ बार्क एंड फॉर्मेशन ऑफ लेंटिसेल्स, इन तीनों इम्पॉर्टेंट टर्म्स के बारे में हमने पढ़ा है. अब लास्ट में हम सेकेंडरी ग्रोथ इन रूट्स मैं आपको बताऊंगी. एक्चुअली ये छोटा सा टॉपिक दिया गया है बुक में, बट मैंने इम्पोर्टेंस आपको शो नहीं की है. बहुत ही छोटा टॉपिक है ये, और जैसे सेकेंडरी ग्रोथ इन स्टेम इज़ मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट, सेकेंडरी ग्रोथ इन रूट इज़ नॉट दैट मच इम्पॉर्टेंट, इसलिए मैंने आपको अंडरलाइन करके नहीं बताया है. बट मैं थोड़ा सा आइडिया आपको इस डायग्राम की मदद से दे देती हूँ. इधर आप देख सकते हो इन द डायग्राम प्राइमरी फ्लोएम, then primary xylem, secondary xylem and secondary phloem. उन सभी के parts यहाँ पे दिखाए गए हैं. Actually in the dicot root, the vascular cambium is completely secondary in origin, and it originates from the tissue which are located just below the phloem bundles, and the portion of pericycle tissue, आपको मालूम है pericycle is just present near the endodermis and just above the protoxylem. They are forming a complete and continuous wavy ring. यहाँ पे भी ring formation होता है, which later becomes circular. So further events are very much similar to the cambial ring which is found in dicot stem. So that's why we are not discussing in detail. The secondary growth also occur in stem and roots of gymnosperms, but however, secondary growth does not occur in monocotyledons. This you have to specifically remember. So in this way, we end our chapter here today, and in next session we will take the revision of all the chapter. This is an important chapter and many diagrams are there to remember, and even long answer type questions can be asked from this chapter. So please be continuous in your work, complete your classwork and homework in a perfect time, and take care. Till then, bye bye students.